All right, everyone, we are back 2 o'clock-ish on Tuesday, March 25th. We are taking a little bit of testimony on H397, an act relating to miscellaneous amendments to the statutes governing emergency management and flood response. Ways and Means and Appropriations made some changes to the bill. The bill is on the floor tomorrow, so we are here just catching up with them on what they did to the bills. I'm looking to the gallery, to the member from Ways and Means, the member of Appropriations. Would you like to go first, sir, or? Okay, yeah.
Don't mind them.
Yeah, no. I figured that was the case, so I wanted to offer you first crack.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, for the record. Representative Jim Harrison, reporter from the House Committee on Appropriations on H397. The amendment that you have before you is very simple. It just hits the delete button 3 times. First instance, we deleted section 6, which was the new positions in the Division of Emergency Management. The second instance, we deleted the Vermont Community Radio Program. And the third, we deleted the appropriations in its entirety. I can explain what we did in the budget. Obviously, last week was getting to a point where we had to make everything fit within the big bill context. So we did this on several bills last week that had appropriations embedded in them, and we took them out. Those that we could fund, we put in the big bill. So we didn't, unfortunately, weren't able to do the positions in the community radio program in our budget as it stands right now. However, we did include, I think it's 475,000 for the urban search and rescue group in our list of one-time funding. We couldn't get base on it, but it's one-time funding. And the other thing we did was 275,000 for, I guess, what's referred to as the fire apparatus to help with wildfires. And that, I believe, goes to ANR, but maybe more specifically Fish and Wildlife. I'm not positive on that.
Yeah, it's housed at A&R with there is a little fire, forest fire prevention department within A&R. So that was focused for them. Representative Hale?
I just wanted to clarify, you said 475,000, not 975,000 for USAR. Is that correct? We had asked for 975.
Yes. Some people are better remember. There's too many numbers.
Yeah, I think it was
Last week.
50. So
But yes,
Okay.
yes, it was reduced. I was thinking in my mind approximately by half of what was in the original bill. So
Thank you.
that's the math on method. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that.
Okay, cool. All right. So, I mean, it seems to be pretty cut and dry. Sorry, Representative Coffin. Thank you.
Because I was trying to read and follow too a little.
sure.
You said for the 275,000 for the fire apparatus.
Yeah, we didn't think we could cut the truck in half or whatever it is.
So it did.
We did the full,
Okay.
full amount.
No, I was just making sure that I heard right because I couldn't.
Yeah.
I thought you said it got cut and then I'm
Yeah,
like.
half this year, half next year.
Okay. Your radio was 250.
Sounds about right. 250 or 220.
What was the question about?
Community radio.
205. 205. It was like a,
Yeah.
it was 205.
Yeah.
And then the 2 positions. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to suggest any of these decisions reduce what committees recommend are easy at all.
Any other questions for Rep. Harrison?
Okay, well, thank you very much,
Sir?
for your time.
Thank you.
Tucker, thank you for helping to draft this amendment on the fly.
Thank you. And Rep. Teddy.
Edward.
That was the thing downstairs in caucus.
Marginally. partly by our own error. Edward Teddy Wozniak, Berry City. So the Ways and Means Committee has 6 instances of amendment, which will actually end up being 5 instances of amendment. The first one was we wanted to allow the redevelopment of flood resilient housing in properties which had gone through the buyout process. So we initially amended the bill to allow that. Quickly learned that that is a very large can of worms with a lot to discuss and a lot of policy work to do. So tomorrow on the floor, Rep. Kornheiser is going to bring an amendment to basically undo the change that we made. So section 3 will ultimately be as passed by this committee. So Kornheiser is just going to undo, Chair Kornheiser, I should say, just going to undo the amendment that we did. Section 1. Section 2, or excuse me, the second instance of amendment replaced the reimbursement program for the buyouts. We renamed it Municipal Grand List Stabilization Program. It's still what the governor recommended. We just felt that there were too many things called voluntary buyout program that it was getting confusing. So due to some good wordsmithing, Municipal Grand List Stabilization Program. But it's the same policy as passed by this committee. We found, you'll recall the committee changed the position, moot point, but the committee changed the position from a flood mitigation technician to an all hazard mitigation technician. And we found language later in the bill that still had the name flood mitigation technician in it. So we just changed those to all hazards. Fourth instance of amendment, section 12, which was the changing how municipalities are able to service their debts. That was language that came from PLCT originally, I believe. We found out that there may be some interaction between that section and TIF districts. And we just need to dive into that more with Ledge Council and joint fiscal. So we took that out. It very well may move in perhaps the miscellaneous tax bill or something later this year. It just needed more time, wasn't ready for prime time. Section 5, fifth instance of amendment added sections 13A and B, which adjusts the formula for local options tax. It's been discussed in a couple of different bills this year. Right now, local options tax, 70% goes to the municipality, 30% goes to the pilot special fund. We're adjusting that to be 75 to the municipality and 25% to the pilot special fund. That decision, those numbers were decided when you take all of the money that's used in the pilot special fund to administer the tax, plus the municipal brand list stabilization program, the governor's proposed $1 million, 75-25 still strikes a small surplus. So if we had gone to, we'd originally thought about 80-20, that would have underfunded the pilot fund and none of us want to go there. So we settled on 75-25. And then we also added in 13B is the flooding abatement program, extending that to cover the 2024 floods. That was a program that was put in place after the 2023 floods, which makes municipalities whole for the education fund portion of abated taxes due to a flooding event. So we just extended that to cover the 2024 floods as well and made some tweaks to the effective dates to allow the abatement reimbursement program to take effect retroactively to November 15th of 2024, which is when the old program expired. Looking at Tucker, if I missed anything, or those are our minutes.
A clean running of the gauntlet. Yeah, no, I mean, committee, we knew that was going up there for continued work from our friends in Ways and Means, so seeing a multi-page amendment is not a surprise. It was actually expected. So, any questions for our esteemed friend from the tax committee? Nope. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm gonna work on the floor report more like later today. I'll let you, we should just bounce back and forth a little bit, but we'll do that later. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
So we did want to take a position on these, so we have our selves in order going into tomorrow's floor report with this. Straw polling again, Representative Tisnall.
Am I confused, or did we not take testimony from somebody that said that they didn't need to do a lot of these things that he was asking for because they were already in the other statute? Why getting him mixed up with somebody?
I think you remember conversations pretty accurately. Yeah, and that was sort of the Kornheiser amendment's gonna undo a piece that we did.
Because the gentleman that testified from whatever organization he was from, he fired the forest and.
You saw a guy?
Yes.
Woodland Fire, Charles
Woodland-
Martin.
Woodland Fire, yeah.
Woodland Fire was saying that, you know, it was already covered and. What am I thinking, because when Teddy testified first, and then that guy testified, and it sounded like the guy was saying, you don't need that because we already have that covered.
Yes, I believe that was either Doug Farnham.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, it was.
or Eric.
Yeah.
It was Farnham, and that's what the second Ways and Means Amendment is doing. Is it's reverting the language back to what we originally voted on,
Okay,
which was the way that Mr. Farnham had portrayed it was probably best
right.
drafted.
Just want to make sure it was like.
Yeah, there's like some, amendment gymnastics in there, right? Like we sent it one way, they did it another, now they're undoing what they did to mirror the language we sent, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
That's on section 3.
I'm seeing two eyebrows that accounts. Yeah. So. Informal straw polls on this. If folks are comfortable, I guess we can start off with Mr. Harrison's. With the eliminating the two line items and then shifting one fully funded line item and shifting one other line item at half funding. So. All those in favor? Sandy abstains? No, Sandy said, all right, I understand. There's always a life in the Senate. Thumb up, okay.
Yeah.
That's half
Yeah.
thumb. I got
Yeah,
a
can we do
10.5.
half
These are
No.
thumbs with an F.
Only when thumb wrestling, yes.
Injured thumbs.
Okay, so our appropriations amendment is 1100. Now on to the Ways and Means Amendment. There is, the Kornheiser one will be presented on the floor tomorrow.
Yeah.
With this, so the first instance of amendment is the one that Teddy went over, which is the multi-pager. This is, yeah, that's the 2.2 dated 3/19. And I hope that we find that favorable as well. Thumbs, yeah, thumbs. Danny's got a thumb. Bob's got a thumb. Danny's got a thumb. Alright. And the Kornheiser amendment is gonna remove that one particular section,
First one. Mhm.
but we don't have a language presented for that.
But our line-
Okay, so we'll hold on that till we actually see the words. Is that something that'll be? With us. Yes,
I will look for it now on the Ways and Means page and see if it's posted there.
okay. And we will hold momentarily. We are still online though. Representative Pistol.
I found my notes, and it was on 311, and it was Doug Farnham for miscellaneous amendments. And he did say we did not need section 1 because it was duplicated in previous title. That's 310 and 20.
Correct.
Mhm.
And so we are reverting back to that. So we
Back to that.
drafted the language based on his testimony.
Huh?
They changed it.
Now we're going back to
And now we're
this.
going back to that. Yes, so we're in the original landing spot.
But it is posting the Kornheiser amendment. So,
Awesome.
so it was questionable.
Boom, there we go. Kornheiser. Not a lot of words. You sure? You can use, yeah.
You gotta speak to or?
Oh,
Didn't know that was request or invitation or.
It was an open-ended question. It was an essay prompt.
Good afternoon, Tucker Anderson, Legislative Council. Autumn just posted draft 1.1 of Representative Kornheiser's amendment to the report from the Committee on Ways and Means. But very simply, this takes the first instance of amendment from Ways and Means right on out. It eliminates that instance of amendment so that there will be no changes to 20 VSA Section 51 and Section 3 of your committee's report. So that section of your report will remain intact and unchanged
All right,
for the time being.
at least in this moment, yes. Any question for council on that? Feel like you have a pretty clear understanding of that one. All right. Thank you, sir. Discussion? All right, well, I move that we find Representative Kornheiser's amendment to the amendment favorable. All those in favor, thumbs up. All right, looks like 11 thumbs to me.
I know, Katie saw the index signers.
Looking for a concert, Jimmy. All right, so we have a lot of bill movement the next 2 days, so the rest per the schedule and conversations, the rest of the afternoon would be spent on floor reports in preparation for the multitude of bills we have hitting the floor. Big week. Good job today.